Thank you. Guys can play along with us. And let's start with DeJounte's new running mate. Yeah, we're going to start with DeJounte Murray here, the Hawks and the Pelicans. So let's talk a little bit. It seems like we're trending towards seeing Zion Williamson maybe at the 5 this season. Remember the Pelicans, they were swept in the first round by the Thunder last season. So I'm going to start with you here, Festus. Zion Williamson, let's talk about him a little bit. He needs to blank this season.
Zion Williamson needs to play at least 65 games this season. And he's going to see some of the time at center for the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson, he has been incredible since he got into the NBA. At the second year in the NBA, he averaged 27 points a game. He is a force to be reckoned with. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but Zion is skinny now. So if he was this ferocious and they labeled him overweight, I am so excited to see Zion Williamson in shape, because it seems like even last year, Luka came into the season in shape, and he had a heck of a year and led his team to the finals. I'm excited to see Zion Williamson. No player puts in all this time in May, in June, in July to lose weight and to get in shape just to go fall short during the season. So Zion is my pick for the year, and I think that if he plays at least 65 games, he's going to lead the New Orleans Pelicans to the playoffs.
At least 65 games. I think that's a great goal for Zion. All right, let's go from DeJounte's new running mate to his old running mate. Let's talk a little bit about Trae Young. This is where I thought we were going to start the segment, actually. The Hawks, they added #1 pick in Zachary Reese-Shea this summer, but it still feels like it will be Young, not the youth, right, that everybody is going to be looking at. So, Zach, I turn to you here. Fill in the blank. Trae Young will finish the season as blank.
As an Atlanta Hawk in the play-in tournament, just like always.
Right.
I think this team still has enough talent to hang in the back end of the play-in race, but it's hard to see them in the top 6. It's even hard to see them being better than Miami, who I think is the 8th best team probably going into the Eastern Conference, at least in regular season quality, Heat fans. Regular season playoffs, different animal. But look, I don't think the Hawks are going to find a Trae Young trade, if they even want one, that satisfies them. So I think he's there, and I think they're in the play-in, which is not an enthusiastic caw. It's just a soft, sad caw.
I need a button that I can just press to hear that over and over again.
Does a hawk make a caw sound?
According to Zach Lowe, it does, and I am here for it. Should we do another one?
Aha!
Oh, there you go. All right, last up, Paul George. He was asked on his podcast about who's got next in the NBA. Let's take a listen.
You can't pick Luka, Anthony Edwards, and Wemby. Okay, I want to know, let's see, who 25 and under would you build your franchise around today? They can be 25 and you can pick them too.
Who's shown that they're ready for that next jump, I think was a star. For sure, Paolo. For sure, Paolo.
All right, Brian. So PG, he was giving a lot of qualifiers before naming Paolo, but I'm going to take off the guardrails, right? Who is the best player under 25 in the NBA right now?
Well, there's a couple people I could say here, but I'm going to err on Victor Wembanyama's future because I just believe that he is headed on a rocket ship to the top of the league. He probably is not there yet, but if you're building a team, I don't know how you wouldn't say this guy. He was more impressive than we had our expectations, if that's possible, as a rookie last year. The way he attacked that gold medal game and the way he wanted it and played in that only elevated my thoughts on him even more. And I think he's going to have an incredible sophomore season. And by the way, while we're talking about birthdays, a happy one to our Cassidy Hubbard today as well.
Absolutely.
Hey,
happy birthday, Cass. Absolutely happy birthday. Should we do, one more, right? Since it's Cassidy's birthday, why not? Dwight Howard. He was on Dancing with the Stars earlier this week.
Windhorse. How are the beignets over there?
Oh, bonsoir, mes amis. It's a wonderful time here in Paris. Just for you, Christine. I asked him to light it up before I left.
Our international man of mystery, Brian Windhorse. He covered the Paris Olympics. He saw Team USA take home gold to become world champs. See what I did there? But on the NBA side, there have actually been 6 different champions in the last 6 years. So it's safe to say there is some parity in the league for the first time in a while. So since we have Wendy back, let's do something new. It is called the Tower of Power. So Brian Windhorst, while it may only be September 19th, let's do one last off-season ranking here. We're going to start at number 5.
Yeah, well, I'm going to, out of respect for Perk, I'm not going to say bam. How about we say boom and start with number 5? How about the Dallas Mavericks? Now, we know that Dallas is going to be a very formidable team again this year with Luka and Kyrie back. I think their continuity will certainly help. I think that run that they made last year in the playoffs really showed how good they can be. Plus, we may see even a more developed Derek Lively, who's been shooting three-pointers in the offseason. If he adds that, that's a whole nother dimension. And I didn't even mention Klay Thompson. In 4th, boom! How about the Wolves of Minnesota? Because they won a ton of games last year, and I know that they beat the Mavericks, or they got beat by the Mavericks in the playoffs. This team is still one of the best defensive teams in the league. They have Ant Edwards, who I think could become an MVP candidate this year. They are going to be very formidable because they didn't cut any payroll. There was some concern about whether or not they were going to be able to do that, and they brought their top teams back. This one could be controversial, Malika. Boom, with the Denver Nuggets. I know we just spent a whole segment earlier talking about why the Nuggets may backslide. And I don't think that the Nuggets will have the 3rd best record during the regular season. But if Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are right, beating them best of 7 is going to be very, very hard. I know that they went down last year, but I honestly believe they were not that far off from repeating. All right, number 2, a fast rising team. Boom! That would be the Thunder from Oklahoma City. This is a team that, of all these teams in the top 5, has added to their roster this offseason by adding Isaiah Hartenstein and that stunning trade early in the offseason, bringing in Alex Caruso. And I think you're going to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander only continue to dominate. Number 2 in the MVP standings. Great chance to be number 1 this year. But our number 1 in the Tower of Power, you know where I'm going. Boom! How about the defending champions? It flies in the face of your list there, Malika, that we may not have a repeat champion. Guess what? This is the best chance we've seen to repeat in years. Now, Kristaps Porzingis is going to miss the early part of the season recovering from that ankle surgery, but this team is deep. They are young. They are equipped to compete. Absolutely, the East is going to be harder for them to dominate this year, but there's no reason why they shouldn't sniff 60 wins again if they stay healthy.
I'm just looking at this, Festus. Wendy only has 1 Eastern Conference team in his top 5. Did he get this right?
I was thinking about this, and Wendy, you did a great job. All 5 I love. Special consideration to the Indiana Pacers. I don't really like where the Dallas Mavericks are in that chart, but
Too high or
I
too
think
low?
they're too low.
Okay.
But I think all 5 of these teams are going to be a problem this season. Obviously, the Boston Celtics are number 1 defensive champions. Defense, offense, they're the best in the NBA, and every other team is aspiring to be that.
I like it. All right, that's our final preseason ranking from Brian Windhorst. Hey, here's our Saturday ABC college football triple header, though. Number 21 Clemson hosts NC State. That's at noon Eastern, followed by number 16 LSU hosting UCLA in Baton Rouge. And then at 7:30, a big matchup between some 3-0 teams. Tennessee takes on Oklahoma in the Sooners' first SEC game. Each game available on ESPN+. You can find live sports with where to watch only on the ESPN app and ESPN.com. So, as we get ready for Thursday night football between the Patriots and Jets, it feels like the perfect time to look at another intense rivalry in those same cities. Why don't we take a look at the Celtics and the Knicks? Both teams are coming in with high expectations this season. Wendy, are the Knicks the biggest threat to the Celtics this season in the East?
You know, the reason I didn't put Philly in my top 5 was because I just want to see, they're pretty much a largely new team. I want to see them play before I rank them up there. I would have the Knicks ahead of Philly, but I take the responsibility to let's see how Philly comes together.
Do you agree? Or do you think the Knicks are the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East?
In the East?
Yep.
I mean, the Celtics said their toughest matchup in the playoff last year was Indiana.
Yeah.
And I love the addition of Pascal Siakam, so I think this Indiana Pacers are who I'm rolling with.
You have been
Breaking news into First Take this morning. ESPN senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski has agreed to become the general manager of the men's basketball program at St. Bonaventure. He told ESPN Woj is a St. Bonaventure graduate and has a strong relationship with the program. Woj released a statement that read in part, "After all these years of reporting on everyone's team, I'm heading back to my own." Stephen A., obviously Woj, a friend of all of ours. This is absolutely shocking. I can't think more highly of any colleague here at ESPN. And all I can say before I kick it to you is obviously we know he had a big-time contract here at ESPN. He's the best of the best, and I know it's a daunting job here to be an insider. I hope this is a happiness move for him.
So do I. I've gotten to know Woj over the last couple of years working on NBA Countdown. He's the best in the business. He's the best in the business. Make no mistake about it. Nobody's more well-connected. Nobody's more respected. And to be around him and to just to be able to touch on a wealth of knowledge that he's had in all of his years covering the league, the contacts that he has, the inside information that he's had. He's led this place for quite a long time. As you well know, there are many, many occasions where we won't even go on the air and report something unless we hear from Woj first. He's meant that much to this place. He's a part of this institution, somebody that, just speaking on behalf of the whole NBA Countdown team and all of us who have worked with him over the last few years, he's the best in the business. He's absolutely exceptional, a high-end professional. He has my profound respect, and I just hope that this is a very, very happy move, and I anticipate that it is, because we certainly didn't ask him to leave. I can assure you of that. This is something that he's doing of his own volition, so one would surmise that he's incredibly happy and comfortable with the decision that he's making, and if anybody deserves to be in a position to make this kind of information for the betterment of their quality of life, he would be that individual. He loves St. Bonaventure, make no mistake about it.
Sure does love those Bonnies. Yep.
He does.
But I'm happy for him,
Yeah.
But I'm sad for us as a network because it's
Absolutely.
a devastating loss for us to not have him.
100%.
Yeah, big loss. And obviously he loves the college basketball. He loves the Hurleys, wrote the great book on Bobby Sr.
Yeah.
He knows the Connecticut program basketball-wise like you wouldn't believe.
Hurley and
St. Bonnie. That St. Bonnie's crew, Mike Vaccaro, the New York Post is another one. There is Bob Lanier.
Yep.
There is a lot of loyalty to St. Bonnie's. Little old Olean, New York, middle of nowhere. They love St. Bonaventure. They should have had the 1 year they had the great year in Ford, and Lanier got hurt. Chris Ford, it's a famous play. Anyway, to make a long story short, it had to be a tremendous opportunity. He wasn't going to leave ESPN for something he didn't like.
Yeah.
So good for him. If he wanted to go to St. Bonnie's, I give him a lot of credit.
Absolutely, and I just want to say this lastly. Everyone who works in media works incredibly hard, right? A lot of different hours. The job never stops. But to be an insider is truly next level. So I'm not saying that being a GM it isn't much, but I hope for quality of life as well.
A lot of pressure being an insider.
This is a good move for him. We wish him all the best. He's a friend and much respect.